tried something.
Yeah, tell me.
I don't know how is it correct or not.
You want to share in the
Yeah, sure.
in the
I'll
chat,
share.
or you can share your screen as well. Whatever works for you.
I'll share the screen.
Okay, then I'll make you the host. Yes.
One second. Sharing. This is what I tried. Non-functional requirements and product requirement and availability of the products. Example, that application, like if I took the software, any software or any application that should available 24/7, and organizational requirement, external requirements, the 4 types, 3 types, and again 3 types, and subparts 2. Here, external legislative subparts 2 here. Like this, I tried it.
Yes, this is
the way you told me, you told us to do?
Right. So this is the beginning thing. Okay. Now I want you to go a level, next level. Okay. So each of the product, the way that you have written, right? Example. Similarly, you have to write example for each one of these.
Okay.
Okay. The example that you have written, you have to write
usability requirements for everything.
Yes. So the way you will measure usability requirement or feasibility or performance, okay, or space, okay. So you and you don't get it, you have to do search, you have to, study about it, and still you don't get, then you ask me. Okay.
Yeah.
But I want you to do the first level of work, first level of finding it, research, and doing it.
Mute can be like
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I stop the sharing?
Yes. Stop the sharing. My screen is not yet shared, right? Okay, because I have to become the host now. Okay. So we discussed about these things, right? Discussed about the requirements. Okay, now talking about kind of questions that you need to ask your stakeholders, right? The kind of questions you need to ask your stakeholders so that you get the correct requirements. Okay, so there are some how questions. Okay, how will you use this feature? Where, I mean, that is where. So is this feature a process? Okay, how might we meet this business need? Now these questions which I have, okay, is only for your knowledge, of course, right? Doesn't mean that you have to ask exact same questions, but this tells you what kind of questions that you need to ask, right? Okay, and just read through these questions in your mind, and then let me know when you're done. When you're done, let me know. Okay.
Yeah, sir.
Yes, Aurav.
Okay. So these are some of the questions like, how will you use this feature? The moment they say the moment you ask how will you use this feature, they will start explaining, right? This is how we, this is where we use this, how we use. This is where we create this. So while they are talking about it, you can visualize where and how they will be working with this, right? So how questions, where questions, okay? Where does this process start? Okay, where would the results be visible? Okay, where would user access this feature, right? So there are some where questions. Similarly, you have when questions and who questions. Again, read this and let me know when you are done. Let me know when you are done.
Yes, Aurav.
Okay.
Done,
So
sir.
yeah. So tell me, what information will you get when you ask when questions? Why should you ask when questions?
When we use when using when create a question, that time we'll get to know when they can use it, or who are using, like when will this future be used, like when they'll use it, in which scenario they are using.
Yes, which scenario exactly? When will this
Or
feature? So you say that, okay, I want to learn B. I said, when will you use the knowledge? Okay. So when you say, okay, I will use the knowledge for giving interview. Okay, I'll use the knowledge for doing the job. I'll use the knowledge to write a case, user case, right? So depending upon your scenarios, okay, the way I will explain the kind of information which I'll focus on would change definitely, isn't it? Okay, so if you have to write use case, then specific topics needs to be taught in detail. If you talk about interview, then specific topics would be taught. So when will this project feature be used? We'll tell you different scenarios, and when you talk about different scenarios, you also talk about how, who, all those questions will come, but all those things, okay. Now, all those questions are not unique or different, right? They're all interlinked, okay? So if you ask when will this be used, this will be used there. Then who will use it, right? How will they use it, right? What output they will get, right? So each of these, though we are reading under different headers, but all these are interlinked questions, right? It's not that you will start asking first who and then what, then when, right? You have to ask all together. So when it will be used, who will use it, why do you want to use it? Okay, the last one is why. Okay, why? Okay, so now for other questions, okay, what, how, when where you can answer in a single line, right? This will be used here. But when they answer in single line, sometimes you may not get enough information. Then you ask why. Okay, the moment you ask why, it kind of opens. Okay, see, comparatively, okay, even though you might feel that what and where and all those questions are, they are one um, who's going to uh, answer in multiple lines, right? But still these are like close ended. Okay, where will you use it? I will use it when user logs in. Okay, when user logs in, they have to use it, right? Who will use it? User. So still these are like kind of closed ended questions. But the moment you say why they will use it, right, then they'll start explaining the details. So when you're not getting enough information, okay, when you're not getting enough information, okay, from the user, then you ask why. Okay, so why will make them answer in detail, correct?
Yes.
Right. Okay, so these are some of the questions that you have to ask. Okay, so this is something else. Let's, okay, we will okay, so this is about what you should not be asking, right? Okay, um, so tell me, see, these are examples of bad requirement, right? So first one, you see, choosing an option from a drop down menu. If your statement has will choose an option from a drop down menu. Why do you think it's a bad option? Why do you think it's a bad option?
Sometimes it may not be clear.
Okay, so see, we said that, right? You should not focus on, implementation detail. Why should it be a drop down? Why not a checkbox? Okay, why not a radio button? Right? Why only drop down? Correct. So the idea is that at our level, at BA level, we should not be getting into the design aspect, right? Choosing an object from a drop-down menu, if you write, okay, I mean, dot means, there's, you write all the good requirements that we discussed yesterday, and then you say from a drop-down. Now, from a drop-down, when you put it, the software developer, the development team will have to develop a drop-down, right? And then, as per our guide, okay, we are not supposed to focus on the implementation requirement, isn't it? So that's why we should not write that. Then what is the second part? Pushing a submit button. Why pushing a submit button is a bad idea? These are all based on what we discussed yesterday.
Implementation processes.
Correct, right? Again, it's about implementation. Can it be proceed or checkout button instead, right? Why should it be submit? It could be proceed, it could be checkout, right? So depending upon the total, okay, depending upon the total scenario, right? Not all buttons are submit button, isn't it? So depending upon where you are, let's say if you are into fifth process, if it's a 5 process thing, and you are at first stage or second or third or fourth, then probably proceed or next could be a better word than submit. If you are in the fifth step, then yes, submit can be a good option. But if you are in fourth step, then maybe next would be a better option, or proceed would be a better option than submit. right? If you are doing an e-commerce thing, checkout is a better option than submit, right? So again, we should not focus on the terminologies. We should not focus on these things, or focus on getting the requirements correctly, right? Okay, clicking on checkbox, just like the first one. Why not radio button? Why not drop down? Isn't it? We shouldn't get into design aspect of the product or the feature. Focus on the working of the feature. Okay, common mistake is we start designing the solution. Okay, we feel that okay, we it's a feature is easy, and or we have to give the solution immediately, correct? So that's not the right way. Okay, we should we should not focus on design, right? Okay. Next is unjustified requirement. So what is unjustified requirement? Something which is not relevant, which is not important. Okay, you can deliver the product without focusing on that, right? So that becomes your unjustified, right? Something which is, I start talking about the Java development, that is unjustified. Okay, we are wasting time and effort. Instead, we can focus on something which is even more relevant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, putting in unjustified extra information. Okay, so even putting extra information, okay, sometimes can confuse the user, isn't it? So we don't want to put extra which is not required. See, it should be complete. We should not miss adding any information. At the same time, we should not simply put extra information. Okay, not putting sufficient detail. Other part of it, right? First one is you are giving extra information is not required. Second part is giving something which is you should give something which is important, right? Incomplete requirement comes from this. Protecting requirements. Okay, this is okay. This is again since we are we have to deal with human beings, right? This is very common. Okay, your one stakeholder will say something, and the other person would tell you exactly opposite of it. Now, we discussed earlier, right? Our job is to make sure that you bring them on same page. Okay, focus is on getting the right requirements. But sometimes they may take it to their egos, right? What I say is right. What I say is right, right? So what we have to understand is that, okay, whether you are a BA or you are any other role, we should always focus on the business side of it. Okay, now let's say if all three of us work on a project, all three of us gets the requirement, and then we start doing the prioritization. You should not say, feel or think that, okay, I got the requirement, so my requirement is important, right? Sometimes that ego things come into picture, my requirement, I have done it, okay? So we should think from the business perspective, not focus on my requirement or, so because whenever you deal with human beings, this aspect will definitely come, right? So you have to go beyond this. So these are some common mistakes that we make, and you have to keep that in mind when you are, of course, in a discussion. Okay, so we discussed about drop down, submit, and things like that, which we should not put. But let's say during discussion, okay, you did some discussion and that thing came out, and you feel that whatever design that they're talking about or you are talking about, okay, that is the best possible thing. Then what do? We don't even want to lose a discussion. So what it says is, okay, if you come across some good discussion, which you do not want to lose because you as a BA, you're not supposed to write. So if you're not supposed to write, you will lose it. So in this case, what we do is you create a separate header called as parking lot. Okay, you put an appendix or create a parking lot. There you put those information. Okay, so if you put in main document, that is a commitment that you are making. But if you put in the parking lot, you put the information and share this parking lot with your technical team that, we did a discussion and we thought that submit would be the better option, right? And that's why you're putting in the different, you're capturing it, but not because the BA document, the BRD, SRS, those will be signed. Okay, everybody signs on it. Okay, that becomes a legally binding document. Okay, customer can reject your product saying that, see, this is what you said and what you're giving me does not meet the requirement and hence I'm rejecting it, right? So they can do that. So that's why it is important that you capture the information, but capture them separately, not in the main document. Okay, that's the part. Okay, so what we've been discussing so far in the presentation too is that the difference between real business requirement and system requirement. Okay, so real business requirement, system requirements, difference is not in the level of detail. Okay, what does level of detail means? Okay, level of details means first you get some snippet of it, then when you click next level you get more information, when you go to next level you get more information. It's not like that. So when you say business requirement is a high level, it doesn't mean that it is a half knowledge. Okay, what it means is that, of course, we call it as business requirement a high level, but all the requirements are complete. The kind of focus that is there is different. In business, you're talking from the business perspective, but from SRS, we're talking from the system perspective. Okay, so those, okay, these two, or even if you include the user requirement, all these three have to be complete in their own way. Okay, you will not say that, okay, in business requirement, I will say half of the thing and rest half I will talk in SRS. No, so it's not about the level of detail. Okay, both or all the three. Okay, all the documents have to be detailed, but of course the kind of information that you'll put is different. That's how these documents are different. So system requirements are design house and business requirements are WADs, right? So all the WADs has to be in business requirement and all the design house have to be in system requirement. Okay, so this is an example here. Okay, how? Okay, again, please join back. So, okay, this is how from a business problem we arrive at system requirements. Okay, we'll talk about an example. So this is the problem. See, business. So I told you, right? We are doing business analysis, right? It's not software analysis or anything like that. Of course, we end up creating a software for that. Okay, so marketing requirement or the business problem is that sole proprietor restaurants are losing over 5% of their top line sales in food spoilage. So let's say you are a restaurant and you figure out that you are losing 5% of your sales, right? Not profit, sales. In restaurants, sales are much higher than the profit, isn't it? So if you they make a daily sales of 100K USD, you are losing how much? 5K, $5,000 every day you are losing in terms of, okay, food spoilage. That means your food is getting spoiled and you cannot reuse it. Of course, right? In food industry, where spoilage is a bigger thing. So this is the business problem, right? Now, how do you derive or get the solution? Okay, so what kind of IT solution do you think you need in order to reduce the spoilage? Think and then answer. So you're losing because of food spoilage, right?
You will need to consider the business requirement based on the customers.
Mhm. So you are the owner. So you have all the information, right? So how will you translate this business statement into a statement which your technical team or software development team can take it and start working? Now, if you are a software developer and when you hear this, when you read this, you have no clue how to proceed, right? You will have no clue on how to proceed with this, right? But as a BA, you know, right? As a BA, you know how to proceed. How will you proceed?
Maybe we can ask the client every day they're wasting 5% of food, or is there any other days they can there will be a less
So this
wastage
is if on
depending on.
average, this is what you are losing every day, right? On average, you are losing this every day. So
We
what kind
can
of,
tell them like they can use food storage,
you're
things or
talking about the
something.
software solution, right?
Oh, okay.
You have to deliver a software solution, okay?
Hmm.
Maybe utilization and some other factors
Like
like donations or something.
donations. But that is not going to decrease your wastage, right? In terms of money, right? How will you,
But they can use this as we donated this. They can use this for any tax under tax things. They can use it, right? Not to throw.
I'm talking about software solution. Is how is that donation a software solution?
Mm.
See, wastage is bad in any way, right? So how can you reduce the wastage? Okay. So see the why does food get wastage? Okay. So now the business the uh, what do you call the the marketing solution, right? Okay. You have to convert into business requirement, right? Business is not doing good. That is not okay. Of course, that is a problem, but that will not give you some solution. I need to get a job. That's not the problem. Of course, that is a problem, right? But if you cannot have a solution for that. I am feeling hungry. Of course, that's the problem, but you can't develop a solution. I need to get a job in BA. I need to eat something light, something heavy, non-veg, veg, rice, curry, Chinese, right? That's what is the business requirement. What do you want to do? You are feeling hungry? Yes, it's a problem, but that cannot give you the solution. The problem is the business requirement has to be that I feel like eating fried rice, right? For this, we can have a solution. You want to eat fried rice? I'll get a fried rice for you. Correct? I'm feeling hungry, so what can I do? Right? If you're feeling hungry, what can I do? Correct? So what you saw, of course, that is a problem, right? You're feeling hungry. That's when you will go down to a restaurant, right? But that is the starting point for sure. Okay, you need to know that. But to get a solution, you have to go a level deeper. So here we are saying sole proprietor restaurants will reduce the amount of food spoilage. Right? I'm feeling hungry. You can, avoid getting hungry by eating a Chinese food. Do something like that. Okay. So the marketing problem or the actual problem is that businesses are losing 5% of revenue because of food spoilage. But now from business perspective, what business wants to do this year, they want to reduce the spoilage by making a better food purchasing decisions. If you make a better food purchasing, so there are multiple solutions, isn't it? So yesterday also we discussed, right? When you want to improve your sales, when you want to improve your sales, you have three options. You sell more, you manage inventory better, you manage your finance better, right? Finance better means when you're giving, you don't give credit, or you follow up, get back your money, right? When you make the sale and your customer doesn't pay, right? So you have to call them, get. So it is about managing your finances well, or managing your inventory well. How do we manage inventory well? By putting the right inventory at the right place, right? Your customer doesn't walk back empty handed, or sell more, do more promotion, right? So there are multiple ways, right? Three, let's say, you have three ways, but you have to evaluate and see which one will give you maximum. Let's say you are already spending a lot of money on marketing, right? Then focusing on that area may not be a good thing, right? I don't like Chinese food, so thinking about Chinese restaurant is not a good idea, right? What is a good idea? Good idea is focusing on, let's say, the sales, focusing on managing your finances better, because you have a lot of outstanding payment which you are not able to collect, right? You need to receive. So in balance sheet you can look at receivables. Okay, in receivables you will tell you that how much money you are expected to get. You made the sales but you haven't got the money, so you have to balance your finances better, right? Okay, so similarly in this example, I can reduce the wastage by making better food purchasing decisions. So you need a software now which can help you to make better food purchasing decisions. To convert problem into a business problem. Okay, the business problem is something that you will get ideas to solve. Okay, the problem, it can be, you can have multiple solutions for it, but you are talking without to know what your company needs and company is capable of doing, right? Do more promotion, but company is already spending a lot of money on promotion, right? So, okay, so if you put promotion, yes, of course you'll get more sales, but the impact will not be higher. Impact will be on something where you are not doing well, right? Something which you're not doing well, and to improve a little bit, it'll have more impact than something which you're already doing well, correct? So that's why business requirement is a transformed work statement. Okay, same thing, but here you are talking about the solution, and you're first focusing about the solution now. Okay, so I was talking about that converting a marketing statement into a business problem. So business problem will talk about the solution at a high level, and also the direction in which you need to proceed, right? So here we can reduce the problem, okay, by making better food purchasing decisions. Okay, now product requirement. Okay, now so business requirement is done. The business requirement could be broken down into multiple. Okay, if you have multiple product requirement, right? So here you're talking about a system, okay, shall recommend ingredient purchase. Okay, ingredient purchase amounts and timing that would reduce spoilage by at least 50% against the baseline. Right? So what do you get from this line? What does this statement tells you? The actual solution is the system will recommend ingredients purchase. How much quantity, like first, what all things you need to buy, how much and when, right? So in restaurant, we'll buy the raw materials, right? It could be right from rice, to vegetables to spices, right? Okay, maybe curd and cheese and things like that, right? So what all things you need to buy, in how much quantity, and when. Okay, so the system will say buy curd today and maybe buy just 5 pounds. Okay, don't buy 8 pounds or 10 pounds. Okay, so when you follow the system requirement, okay, you will be able to save 50% of the benefit. And sometimes you should be able to ignore the recommendations. Why should you ignore the recommendations? When you have more information than the system. Okay, let's say someone calls you, okay, and says, computer. So I was saying that, okay, the first point, right? So if you follow the, the recommendation, you will be able to save at least 50% of the wastage. Okay, this is the solution. The second point, sometimes, okay, as a user, you can ignore the recommendation. So in which cases you'll ignore the recommendation? So you'll ignore the recommendation in cases where, you know better than the system, right? So I was giving an example when, let's say someone calls you that, we want to have party at your place and will be 20 of us coming to your place for party, right? That information is not in the system. System will look at the history, okay? How many people come on the weekend, how many people are coming on the weekday, at what time, what kind of things they've been ordering in last few days. Based on all those aspects, you will be, or the system will be recommending. So if there is a 20 people coming to your place, that information, okay, your system will not have it, isn't it? And when system doesn't have that information, it it will probably recommend you a lower quantity. But you know that you are getting 20 people more will come, so you can ignore in such cases. But most of the time, you will go by what your system is recommending. Yes. So now you know what is that you want. Can you explain me what we discussed so far? How did we arrive from the marketing statement till the software requirement, till the requirements, phase?
By adjusting the marketing strategy and the
Yeah. So
product
can you explain the
requirement.
steps? What, where we started, what we did, then what we did, then how did, how we reached here?
Yeah, first there was an issue of food wastage, and then we had to come up with some software solution, like going in for a better marketing strategy, like in delivering the product to reduce wastage, and then to follow the system requirements uh, uh, for the purchasing of the products,
Okay.
and ignore it if it is not needed.
Okay. Okay. So good. Now same thing you have to do on this. This is what I have done. Okay. Now this is the case study. Okay. You have to create similar steps for this case as well. So now you both of you have 2 assignments pending against your name. Okay, the first one with the metric, you still have to do, right? Something also you have to do it, right? You identified those different areas, yes, and then identify a metric. And second thing is find the marketing problem, business requirement, okay, product requirement, and software requirement for this. Okay, so let's discuss this case. I'll give you time to read it. Once you have read, let me know, then we'll discuss. So when you are done, let me know. And when you are done, let me know.
Yeah, so
Yes.
Okay. So what do you understand from this?
it's like coffee delivery using wireless technology.
Mm-hmm. So what is the problem here? What is the business problem here? Or what is the, can you describe? First, we'll start describing, right? The first step is describe, then you define the solution. So what is, can you describe the problem here?
The problem here is that they don't want to queue up for coffee at any counters.
Right. So this fellow wants to start a new coffee shop, and his USP is going to be that you don't have to stand for your, okay, so they will be selling the coffee, preparing the coffee as fast as possible. So you don't have to queue up, you save your time. Okay. So he wants to use technology and deliver coffee faster. Right? Okay. So now how do you help him? Help Dirk Dash, right? Dirk, how do you help Dirk Dash to come up with his strategy? Suggest him what all things he need to do. Yes, now you go ahead. What is that wireless? You said something?
It is mentioned that the staff will be using the best wireless technology to provide the, so it might be in terms of
Okay, my suggestion, of course, there's no wrong way, right? There's no that this is the only way you have to solve it. Now, so one thing we discussed yesterday, right? Break the problem into smaller pieces. Instead of trying to boil the whole ocean, take your water in a pot and boil it, right? So break down. So you want to reduce the total time. So break it into different sections. So what are different process that is involved in a coffee shop? And then you try to reduce time for each of the process. Instead of focusing on entire thing, break it down into different steps. Okay, and that's the my take. When I first read this case, okay, that was my idea, right? That first let's break it into smaller cases, which we can then solve. Okay, go ahead.
First, it is like the marketing requirement where he find where the solution is to find a technique to avoid crowds and queues.
How will you do it? That's a question.
We can like keep any pre-orders, like in their website they can mention online orders, or they can order and they can go out, they'll get some message to pick up, something like that.
Of course you can, yeah. So how will you enable it, right? That whatever you're saying has to be attainable as well. How do you make sure that all these things are possible? So I said, right, try to break the problem into smaller parts. So smaller part is, first part is taking the order, right? How can you reduce the time for taking the order? Then second is preparation of the order, right? How can you reduce the time for preparation of order? The third is payment. No, serving the coffee, right? You serve the coffee to the customer. And last one is payment, right? These are the 4 steps, correct? So how can you reduce the time in each of these 4 steps, right? Am I right? Do I make sense here?
Yeah, but thinking beyond that is like
Yeah, how
Not
to
beyond.
explain.
See, these are the steps. I mean, you can't think anything beyond this, right? But within these, how can you do it? That's the point.
Like we can say they can update, or they can make some changes in their software, like they can install some QRs, or themselves they can make an order, like within the store they can enter the store and they can make their own orders, so that way the order queue lines may be reduced.
So do you want to try this today?
Yeah.
Okay. So try this, and tomorrow, we can discuss. So have something in write up on PPT so that you can share. or you can draw it on paper and then take a photo, something that you can share and we can discuss.
Mhm. Yeah, sure, sir.
We'll end it here for today.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
finish these 2 assignments and then
Mhm.
we'll continue. Okay, so the second session is almost done. I mean, I think this is the last slide. So now tomorrow we'll start with BA techniques. What are different techniques that you use as a BA?
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Thank you.
Yeah. Take care
Thank you.
Good night.
and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.